Hello, and thanks for joining me here on my channel. My name is Julie, and this is Stamp with Julie Baum. Today's card tutorial is a Valentine card, and this happens to be Project 2 from Stamp Club, January 2026. There are 3 total projects for Club, and there is a separate video for Project 1. This is Project 2, and be sure and look for the video that is Project 3. We are making this cute Valentine card, but we are using some elements from Pop-Up Petals. We are not using the stamps, but we are using a couple of the dies. We are using this larger die for creating a pop-up on the inside of the card. Now, if you watched a recent video, you saw a similar technique that we're going to use on the front of this card, but it did not have the surprise pop-up. So let's create our card, and you can follow along and watch, or you can create along with me. All right, we are beginning with a card base of Bubble Bath cardstock. Now this is 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches, and we are going to score and fold it in the center at 4.25. So I have not done that yet, so I'll just pull out my trimmer, put this at 4.25 and score it. Now, if you are a Stamp Club member, you are getting to make these cards this month when you come to Stamp Club. For those of you who are part of Stamp Club at home, you are watching the videos and you work on the projects on your own time at home. So these elements, pieces, parts are all in your packet. All right, then I have another piece of cardstock that is white. This is how it started out. Now this piece is slightly smaller than my card base. It measures 5.25 by 8.25. All right, so let's look at that again. We have our card base, and then we have this white piece that is slightly smaller because it is going to be the inside panel of the card and contain the little pop-up element. All right, so those are that. Now, this piece is the one that's going to have the pop-up, and I went ahead and did the die cutting for that, but let me show you how to get to this step. So with your piece of cardstock, you're going to make a score line in the center, and because this piece, as we said, was 8.25 inches long, you're going to need to make that score line at 4.125 inches. All right, so that is what I did here. There is a score line at 4.125. Then you're going to take your larger of the two dies that create the little pop-up feature, and we're going to place this here so that these pointy edges, there's a little point here on the die and a point here, we want those to rest right on top of the score line that we just made. Now, positionally, it might depend on where you want your pop-up in the card. For this card, we do want it rather low, and so I'm going to put it at about 1.25 inches from the edge of the cardstock. So let's grab a ruler so that we can just see what I'm talking about. So this is going to be, here's our 1.25. So I'm going to put the edge of the die at the 1.25 with the little pointy parts right on the score line, like so. And then you're going to put that through your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and then it will cut and score this portion, making it possible to do the pop-up. All right, so what we're going to do is pull forward on this center score line, and this is getting folded, and this is getting folded. So you just have to manipulate it a bit to get it going in the right direction. And then we can close this, and we are going to reinforce all of our folds. Now, if you saw project 1 already, if you watched project 1, you saw that that is a pop-up card also. We used some different dimensions of our pieces of paper. We used a colored piece for the inside. We used a smaller piece for the pop-up. So it is different. I don't want you to think that you're watching the same thing. All right, reinforcing my creases. And there we have the center panel of with the pop-up. Okay, now the other card that we did in project 1 went this way. Today's card is going to go this way. All right, let's look at the rest of our pieces. I have a piece of white cardstock. This is for the front of the card, and it measures 3 3/4 inches by 5 inches. I have a piece of designer series paper, this cute little heart print. If you are doing Stamp Club at home, you might have a different heart print, but it is still an all over heart print from this pack of paper. This piece measures 3 1/4 inches by 4 1/2 inches. So we have that one. We are going to take another piece of designer series paper. Let me see if I have that already cut. I might need to cut it. Okay, let me grab that paper and I can show you what's next. Yes, this is the other piece. We're using this cute diagonal print with the stripes. And what you need is 2 pieces that are 1 inch by 1 inch. Now, in your packet for Stamp Club at Home, you have a piece, I'll show you, that is actually 1 inch by 2 inches. So yours looks like this. And the reason that I did that was the 1 by 1 pieces are so tiny. I did not want them getting lost or misplaced in your packet. So all you need to do is simply take your scissors or your trimmer and cut this in half. And then you will have your 2 1 inch by 1 inch pieces. All right. Moving on. I have a scrap of bubble bath cardstock, and this is going to get cut with a die cut. Now, I included your die cuts for this project, but you can change it up. If you want to do a different shape, you totally can do that. I am using pieces from Nested Essentials, I think. And did this banner shape. So at Club, we're die cutting this. If you are doing Stamp Club at home, you have the die cut in your packet, or you can cut a shape that you prefer. All right, so there's our bubble bath piece. And then with this smaller one and a scrap of white, you're going to die cut a smaller shape that's going to nest right on top of it. All right, besides that, we have some scraps of cardstock, and I chose 3 colors based on the colors in the paper. So I have Bubble Bath, I have Strawberry Slush, and I have Real Red. Some of the dies, and these are from I'll show you this one. These are from, I have a lot of stuff on my desk right now. Here we go. They're buried. Endless Love, which we are using the stamps and the dies from this, even though we pulled out that little pop-up mechanism from Pop-Up Petals. Okay, so Endless Love. And there are 2 dies that look like this. So I went ahead and die cut a couple of those. So I've got some Bubble Bath, I've got some red, I've got some Strawberry Slush, and we can figure out what we're going to use at the last minute. Then I am using the Bee Builder Punch. And out of that scrap of Bubble Bath, I punched 1 large heart. That's this one. And I also punched two of the small hearts out of red cardstock. So you're going to see those hearts here. Again, those are from the Bee Builder Punch. Even though the dies in Endless Love are fantastic, I needed some that were a little bit smaller and some that were more specific. So there's our hearts that were punched. Here are our little hugs and kisses that were die cut. And then I also used the smaller arrows and die cut arrows out of red cardstock. So if you are following along, go ahead and grab your dies, your cardstock, get all of those little elements cut out before we move on, because then we're just going to put this together. Now I have one other element here, and it's tricky because it's clear. I have a piece of window sheet. Here it is. Okay, I'll hold it over this so you can kind of see it. So this is just a scrap of window sheet, and we are going to use some pieces cut from this. You don't have to use window sheet. I would recommend that you just use plain white cardstock if you're not going to use the window sheet. Okay, so when we get to that point, you can substitute white cardstock instead. All right, I think those are all of our elements, and we can begin. All right, what I'm going to do is stamp on our white piece. This is our inset. And we'll go ahead and do the elements on the inside of this, attach it to the card, and then do decorating of the card front. All right, so with some stamps and ink, and again, this is from Endless Love, I am going to use the Valentines. Let's see here. Happy Valentine's Day. In a little bit, we're going to use Hugs and Kisses and this small heart from the stamp set. All right, so I'm going to be using Real Red and Bubble Bath ink colors. All right, the Strawberry Slush is in the designer series paper, and like I said, I did cut some of the little die cuts out of Strawberry Slush. If you don't want to use Strawberry Slush at all, you can do the whole project with just these two colors. All right. So let's get I'm going to put the largest word on first, which is Valentine's. Then I'll go back and put the happy and the day right where I want them. All right, so here we go with Bubble Bath. And this is going to go right here on the inside top part of the card. Like so. Then I'm going to switch to Real Red and stamp the happy. And day. Like so. Okay. We are going to work on our little pop-up next. And I have made other pop-up cards besides the project one is a pop-up, this one, and I've made some others. So I'll be sure and post photos and maybe make a reel out of all the different ones so you can see some of the other ideas. All right, what's kind of fun on this one that I'm going to show you now is where we're going to use those two pieces of designer series paper. We're actually going to just glue them here to the folds, the little pop-up, making it almost look like a little decorated box. All right, so let's take our liquid glue and this area here where this is going to get attached, you can just center it. And you can put this flat. It doesn't hurt to press down on it for a minute, even though it's going to be popped up. And then let's see, is there a way that this should go? That's how it was cut. I kind of like how that looks with the angles going opposite. So I think I'm going to do it that way. You can decide how you want your paper to go. All right, there are lots of other fun things you can do with this portion. You can use some wood grain paper and make it actually look like a wood crate or a box. There's another die that comes in the pop-up petals that you can attach to the top of this that looks like a flap. Let me show you one of those since we're talking about it. All right, this is one of the other pop-up cards that I did make recently. And this way I can show you that other kind of look where it looks like a box. And then this extra piece makes it look like the flap of a box. Very, very cute. So endless possibilities on what to do with this little portion. In our club project number 1, we didn't cover this to make it look like a box. We just attached our little flower pot to it. Okay, now is where we're going to use that window sheet. And I'm going to cut 4 small pieces. And when I say small, I'm talking about 1/8 of an inch wide. And no more than, let's see what this measures. Oh, it's hard using something that's see-through. All right, and this is about 1 inch. Okay, I'm going to have the lengths vary a little bit. I'm going to take another snip of this. I'll make this one a little bit longer. It doesn't have to be precise because once we attach these, you can adjust how much shows and how much doesn't show. So it doesn't really matter that this piece is a specific size. It just needs to be about 1/8 of an inch by anywhere from 1 inch to 2 inches long. And then once we have our 4th one here, I'm going to cut this one even longer just to show you that if it's longer, that's fine. We can deal with it or we can trim it down. All right, there's our pieces. Now, what I want to do is determine the 4 little elements that I want to look like they're popping up or floating up out of the box. So I think I want one of the red hearts. And let's see, maybe a strawberry slush kiss, a red hug, and another pink. How about those 4 elements? Okay, like I said, you can choose kind of what you want. I'm going to save this heart for the front of the card, so I don't want to use that one up. All right, now you can use your liquid glue here, or I think that glue dots are a great option. What we're going to do with the glue dots is we're going to attach them to the end of each of these little clear strips. So this is creating our pop-up element so that they kind of look like they're just floating up out of the box. So I've got my glue dot. I'm going to attach it to my window sheet. This is where you could use white cardstock instead if you don't want to use or don't have the window sheet. And then I'm going to press my little heart, my circle, my heart hug here onto that. And now I have this element. Okay, so I'm going to continue that process for the other 3. Adding a glue dot. To the window sheet. And attaching an element. All right, there we have 2. Now our 2 X's. X's and O's. I guess that's what I was trying to say when I was saying hugs and kisses. There's 3 of the 4. And the last one is strawberry slush. And like I said, you could just use red and bubble bath if you want, and you can just omit having that third color in there. In your Stamp Club at Home packet, there's just a variety of these little die cuts, and you can choose whichever pieces you want in whatever colors you like. Okay, the next thing that's going to happen is all of these strips are going to get attached to the inside here of this pop out so that it looks like they're floating up out of the box, like so. So I'm just going to fiddle with the placement for a moment. I want a pink and a red and a pink. That's going to be my tallest one, it looks like. This one's a little crooked. Let me see if I can straighten it. Of course. And my last one, my little O. About like that. Now there's a couple different ways that you can do this. You can use some glue dots attached to the bottom of the clear strip and stick them on to the back of this pop-up box. Or I'm going to attempt to do something else and we'll see if it works. I'm going to put these right back into place where I want them. And then I'm going to attempt to hold them in place. Let's see if I can do it. What I'm trying to, no, I don't think that's going to work. I was going to try to flip it, but I don't see that working. All right, so now that I know where I'm headed, I'm going to do 2 pieces at a time because I can hold on to these 2. And get to the back side here. Okay, so now I'm holding it on the bottom, holding it with my fingers on the bottom. And then I can flip it over. And I'm going to go ahead and tear tape these into place. All right, and as you'll see, because I had to kind of slide them around there a little bit, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put a block on here just to hold it. Okay, I'm going to get my piece of tear and tape. I'm going to place it on, but I'm not going to squeeze it down real tight. I want to take a look at the front side to make sure of my placement before I move on. So I can still remove them and move them around if I need to. Let's take a look at the front. Okay, so this one needs to come over. It needs to come to the left a little bit. Slide on over. All right, let's take a peek at that. There we have it. All right, so now I'm going to press those into place. So those are stuck now to the back side of this portion, like that. All right, let's do this one. I think I'm just going to do one at a time. I don't think we saved much time trying to do 2. This one I want much higher. So I'm going to put it right there and flip it over. And once again, grab a piece of tear and tape. Let's take a look. Yep, that looks cute. And then my last one is going to drop down a little bit, right about there. And I want him over a little ways. There we go. All right, so now that I've played with it, actually, while I'm filming, I do like the longer strip. It's a lot easier to hold on to when you are fiddling with it. And if it ends up being too long, you can always trim it. but that made it very easy to have this long piece of window strip, long strip of window sheet for moving this around. All right, let's get this one stuck into place. And I'm going to do it very lightly because I want to peek one more time and make sure it's where I want it. And I think I'll drop it a teeny bit. Since I haven't squished the tape down hard. All right, let me pull that down. Okay. All right, there we have it. All right, now this piece was extra long. Do you see that hanging out there? So I want to make sure that I trim that. I'm going to actually pull it through to this side so I can trim it way down. I don't want it to show at all. And there you have it. It is not hard, but it will take you a little bit of patience to work on your cute little floating elements. Now, once those are in place, which they are, I am going to give them a really, really good press because I don't want those to come up. And we are able to now go ahead and attach this into our card base. So I'm going to fold it up. I'm going to lay it inside the card base. I'm going to look at my space above and below. There should just be a little bit of pink showing on both. And I'm going to add my adhesive. I do want it close to the edges, but I don't want it to ooze out. So be sparing around the edges and around this little opening. And then you can add extra in the big spaces. And then I'm going to close the front of the card and stick it. All right, that is as difficult as it gets for this card, and it's not that hard. It just takes a few steps. Okay, this is now attached here, so it's really easy to handle at this point. Now I'm going to fold this side down. Same process. Add my glue sparingly, but very close to the edges. And then you can add a larger squiggle all in between. If you prefer to use Stampin' Seal, if you use seal or tear and tape, that's fine too. This is so much fun. This is so cool. Look at the inside of our card. It was fantastic. But all right, let's put together the front. We're going to need our trimmer because we're going to need to make some diagonal cuts from our designer series paper. So to do that, I'm just going to lay it in the trimmer. I'm going to put this corner, this top left corner, right here in the cutting groove. And I'm going to put the bottom right corner also in the cutting groove. And I'm going to cut my paper. Now, what I like to do, and it's not super critical, but I think it makes it easier when you're going to slide your paper around, is to grab a piece of tape. This is low tack artist tape, or you could use a post-it note. That would work very nicely. But what I'm going to do is just tape this together where I just cut it, just so it holds it in one piece. Now I can go ahead and slide this over, and I'm not worried about those two pieces shifting. And I'm going to make the diagonal cut in the opposite corner. So now I have the right top corner of the piece and the bottom left corner, and that's getting cut. Okay, we've got our pieces now. These are going to go on that small piece of white, the piece that, let's see, I think I told you 3 3¾ by 5. All right, carefully remove the tape. This first triangle goes down just how it started out, just like this. And I am looking at my spacing here and here. and leaving a little bit of space at the top. I've done this card a couple times, so since it might be your first one, you may want to do a dry fit first. So you're just going to lay your pieces where they're going to go. The side triangles get flipped, so we're going to see the cute back side. No matter which paper you have um, that I selected for you, the back side is really cute with the front side showing. So that is a good thing to remember when you're choosing your paper for this type of layout, is the front side needs to look really good with its own back side. Okay, let's put those into place. All right, my right and left edges look good. This bottom border looks good. And my two little points are pointing right towards each other. And so that's a good indicator as well. All right, this piece is next. And now I am looking at the space between these two and these two. I want that to be kind of eyeballed as even. And our last piece. It makes a really cool little white X going down the middle of the card. And it's your choice. If you want to have all of these points actually touching and tighten it up, you can do that. Or as you can see, I have space on the outside. You could actually pull them out a little bit more. So you can decide on your spacing. All right, this piece is now going to go on the front of our card. We are in the home stretch now. All right, center this with your pink borders all the way around. And I'm just going to give everything a really good press. We have a lot going on the inside with that pop-up and the folds and the 2 layers of cardstock. And then all we need to do is use all of these pieces to do our decorating. On this piece, we're going to stamp. I'm going to use real red. Since the stamped images are not part of your Stamp Club at Home packet, you'll just need to grab some images that fit with our Valentine theme and also fit in the size of the die cuts. But again, you can change those out if you want to. This would be really cute with 2 circles, and that would work nicely. Otherwise, we're going to put this. Now, my Hugs and Kisses stamp is longer than the middle of this, so I thought let's just put it at an angle, and I like how it turned out. There we go. And then with Bubble Bath, let's add a cute little heart. Like so. All right, I just tried to move that and actually stuck my thumb right in the pink ink. Let's get rid of that. All right, a little bit of layering here. Let's put the white piece. Oh, almost time for new glue. Let's put the white on the pink. And the whole thing on the center of the card. I'm going to choose to go ahead and put it on flat because I will put a heart on with dimensionals. But if you want this popped up, this would be a good time to add dimensionals to the back of it. Your choice. All right. Center that right in the middle of the card. I'm going to take my pink heart, the large one, and just let it slide under the corner of this. Did I leave a space? Yes. All right, so there's that heart. This little red one that was punched out, I'll use a mini, let's see, I need a mini dimensional. Where are you? Here we go. Let's just pop one of those on there. Maybe like that. And then we have these two adorable arrows. I don't know why they end up being so cute, but they, um, I don't know, they really make it. So we'll either use one or two of them. I for sure want one coming up like this because it kind of stands out against the paper and against the pink. I think that's what we'll do. We'll add one arrow. You could decide to add both of them if you want. Maybe we'll put one on the inside. We'll go take a look. All right, I want the tip of the arrow showing against this pink paper. So I'm going to make sure I stick it on first. This can land where it wants. Oh my goodness. Friends, this is super cute and so much fun, so satisfying to create something that is so darling. There's our inside. We could add a heart. I mean, an arrow. We could add an arrow on the inside of the card. Let's do it. I mean, we have it. It's already die cut for us. And I like the upward trajectory on this side. What do you think? And there we have it. This is Project 2 from Stamp Club. Thank you so much for watching, and please do leave me your comments. I read every one of them and respond to each of you, and I really like hearing from you. I'll put some information for you in the drop-down box below this video, and I hope you find that helpful. There you will also find a link to my blog, which will have more information, including the actual written measurements and so forth. So all of that is there to help you. And until next time, happy stamping.